Welcome. This is an exercise developed by the psychology team at the Royal Women's Hospital. Self-compassion is the act of offering support and encouragement to ourselves. This can really help to reduce our distress when we're facing difficulties in life. During this guided exercise, we will focus on self-compassion and on slowing our thoughts and relaxing our bodies. Make sure you are sitting or lying down somewhere safe and comfortable. Please don't listen to this exercise while you're driving. Everything I say is an invitation, not a directive, so do what is most comfortable for you. Begin by taking a slow, deep breath. Drop your shoulders down away from your ears and let your body soften. Continue breathing gently in through the nose and out through the mouth. Bring yourself into this moment. We often have a million thoughts going on in our heads of what we've been doing, of what we're going to do, what we regret, things we're worried about. Right now, I invite you to set those thoughts aside and give your full attention to what you feel in your body. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your hands in your lap. And notice the steady rhythm of your breath. All of these things help us to slow down and bring us into contact with this moment. In this exercise, we're building skills in compassionate self-attunement. That means being curious about ourselves and responding kindly to our needs. Compassion is a skill that comes naturally to most of us. We are pretty good at responding kindly and generously to the needs of others. However, many of us find it really difficult to be gentle and compassionate with ourselves. In fact, we reserve a particularly harsh and critical standard for ourselves. Sometimes we speak to ourselves in a way we would never speak to other people. If this is a hard time in your life, physically, emotionally, socially, or relationally, then this is a time that you need all the support you can get. Self-compassion is a very powerful kind of support. When we are stressed, unwell, or carrying physical or emotional pain, our nervous system can get quite a workout. This means we're often more reactive and more emotional than usual. Sometimes we're almost hypervigilant, really attuned to threat and safety, understandably because we're feeling vulnerable. When we do react emotionally, sometimes in a way that feels unfamiliar to us, how do we respond? Is it with curiosity and gentleness? Many of us actually respond to ourselves with criticism and judgment. We are often saying things like, "What's wrong with me? Am I losing it? I should be coping better." I want you to think about these thoughts as habits. They are not true and they are not helpful. With practice, we can replace them with something that will be more helpful. Your own nervous system could really benefit with some compassion. When you think about someone you love and care for, you are often able to be curious, accepting, soothing, and patient. So as we go through this calming exercise today, we're going to hold those 4 things in mind. And remember that you are someone you can love and care for. We know that you can do this. You have these skills and you use them with others. We encourage you to practice turning these skills towards yourself. Now, I invite you to take a deep breath in and let it slowly go all the way out. Feel your lungs empty. Drop your shoulders and allow yourself to sink into the chair. Compassion requires that we tune in, notice, and respond gently and generously. So I want you right now to notice how you're holding your body. Notice if you're holding it rigidly or softly, if you're poised for action or you're at rest. Be curious. There is no right or wrong. If you're holding yourself more tightly than you need to, what would you like to do? I invite you to make a change if you want to. Do what you need to right now. Now, I invite you to place one hand on your chest and notice what is happening with your breath. How do you breathe? If we breathe high in our chests, we can fuel a sense of impatience and panic. It's like speeding things up a bit. If we breathe down into our diaphragm, we will naturally slow things down. In doing so, our body sends a message to our brain. It's safe, we're slowing down. Be curious about where you naturally breathe. If you're breathing up in your chest, experiment with breathing deeper and see what that feels like. Compassion is not about judging. It is about gentleness and curiosity. Notice what it's like to have your hand on your chest. What is that gentle pressure like? As adults, we rarely soothe ourselves physically. But if we are holding pain or illness or stress, being compassionate with ourselves through touch can slow things down and help us to reconnect with ourselves and connect with the things that are important and meaningful in our lives. I'm going to ask you to experiment with a couple of things and be curious. Allow yourself to like them or not like them. Just give them a go. First is this feeling of weight you are generating with your hand on your chest. Allow your hand to move a little. Try patting or rubbing. Notice what that feels like. Some of us will have had experience of this as children or through our lives. Being held and touched or patted. Be curious about what that reminds you of, what echoes there are. I invite you now to move your hands to hold your opposite arms, like you're hugging yourself, and give them a gentle rub. Notice what it feels like. You might want to pat your arms. The rhythm of patting is very comforting. It's interesting to experiment with what it feels like to pat yourself, to offer comfort in the way that you would towards someone you love and care about. I invite you now to think about what you want to say to yourself. If you were being gentle and patient and accepting of yourself and of this moment in your life, what might feel right to say? You can try a few things on for size. It might be as simple as, "This is really hard." Or it might be, "I'm doing my best." It doesn't matter what it is that you say, but it needs to feel honest and kind. It might feel quite uncomfortable to say something that's very positive to yourself. Just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it's not important and worthwhile. You might want to say it out loud. There is something really powerful about saying things out loud. It can create a sense that we really mean it. I invite you to place your hand on your chest so you hear and feel the vibrations created by your words as you say them out loud. Changing how we treat ourselves can be hard. You've probably had habits of how you treat yourself for your entire life. Adopting a compassionate way of treating ourselves is a radical act and a gift to ourselves. It takes work and practice, and I would invite you to keep thinking in terms of those 4 things I mentioned earlier: being curious, being accepting, being soothing, and being patient. Now, bring your attention back to your breath. Notice the breath rhythmically going in through the nose and out through the mouth. Self-critical thoughts may come in and out of your mind. When you notice them, instead of focusing on them, you can bring your attention back to your breath. As you breathe in, say your self-compassionate statement. It might be, "This is really hard and I am doing my very best." Then breathe out and let everything go. Every time you do that, you are building a new habit, a kinder way of responding to yourself. Now, I invite you to slowly bring your attention back to the room you're sitting in. Notice the sounds you can hear. Notice the temperature of the air. Notice the light in the room. And in your own time, open your eyes.